When the rip closed, they thought time had healed. But time does not heal. It rewrites. She was no longer the witch who escaped the fire. They called her healer, as if Salem had never tried to burn her. She was no longer the witch who cast the circle in Chicago. Her crystals were gone. Her shadows erased. She was nothing more than a scientist. Time had given them lives they never lived, and stolen the scars that made them remember. But scars are stubborn things, and even when hidden, they burn. The circle brought them back, but they weren't the same. She saw them, but not as they were. She saw shadows of futures that never belonged. She saw versions of herself standing where they stood. They were split across truths and lies, each caught between who they were, who they are, and who time insists they must become. And in that void, none of them were whole. And then he came, the one who keeps the stories time abandons, the archivist. He laid before them pages torn from the book of hours, each one holding a life they never lived. He promised them choice, to rewrite the fire, to erase the circle, to prevent the fall of Neo-Atlantis. He promised they could fix what was broken, but every page came with a cost, for time never gives without taking, and every life restored demands another be erased. They thought they had cut the keeper from her. They thought the rip had taken him with it, but scars remember. They burn, they bind, and now she burned with something older than time itself. Her body broke, her face split. One moment she was their sister, the next, the monster they swore they had destroyed. She was never free. She had only been waiting. He led them deeper, into the place between worlds, a library of silence where every lie time ever told was stored. Shelves without end, books bound in skin, in shadow, in sorrow, pages that whispered, begging to be read, names that should never have been forgotten, pressed into ink. This was where the rip fed. This was where time buried its dead. And if they opened the wrong book, it would bury them too. The books did not wait for them. They hunted them, and one found her. Her name, etched in blood. Her death, written as if it had already come to pass. She tried to close it. She tried to tear the page free. But the words bled into her skin, carving her fate into flesh. The story was not asking. It was choosing. And it had chosen her. The floor gave way beneath them, splintering into timelines they were never meant to see. Each crack pulled them deeper, not into the rip, but into themselves. Not the cells they remembered, the cells they feared. Every scar opened, every choice rewritten. And in that shattering, they stood face to face, with the monsters wearing their own skin.
If they had worshipped you, would you ever have left the fire?
You never feared the dark. You only feared its truth.
Without the rip, you are nothing.
They thought he was the keeper of stories, the one who watched from beyond. But the truth was older and crueler. He was not just the archivist. He was the first witch, the first to carve his name into time, the first to bleed so deeply into the rip that it became him. Every forgotten soul, every erased name, every broken hour lived in his face. He was not a witness. He was the beginning. The torn pages scattered before them were all they had left. So they gathered them. They bled into them. They stitched them into something whole. A book made of scars. A book made of names. Their book of hours. But the moment it was born, it began to burn. The flames were not fire. They were memory. Every scream they carried, every wound, every betrayal. Time was not letting them write. Time was writing them. And as their names were carved into the pages, they knew, to save the world, they had to end the story. What? When the fire died, when the pages burned, they thought they were gone. But time did not end them. It bound them. Salem, Chicago, Neo-Atlantis. 3 centuries, torn and sewn into one. Their scars were no longer marks of survival. It bound them. They were marks of belonging. And as they rose, In a world stitched from broken hours, they knew the story was not over. The end was only the start. Time is not finished with them. The book burned, but stories always find a way to return, and some stories refuse to end.